London is counting letters. After the Partygate report on banned lockdown parties in Downing Street, a vote of no confidence in Prime Minister Boris Johnson is within reach. According to Sky News, 28 MPs from Johnson's Conservative Party have now publicly called for his resignation, more than half the number required. If at least 54 MPs from his party send a letter to the relevant committee and thus withdraw their confidence, a vote must be taken. New Johnson critics have been added since the beginning of this week, including prominent Brexit supporter Andrew Bridgen. I and other colleagues have submitted letters over the past few days, and it may well be soon enough to trigger a vote of no confidence, he said. Overall, at least 40 of Johnson's party colleagues at least questioned him, Sky News reported. Since not all MPs are publicly expressing their criticism, several observers expect that the threshold has almost been reached and that a vote of no confidence could be called as early as next week. However, a few months ago, after the initial outrage over the Partygate affair, there was also this expectation, which ultimately did not come true. Graham Brady, the chair of the committee responsible, would call the vote of no confidence when he received enough letters. He is expected to do so no earlier than early next week, when Parliament will reconvene so as not to overshadow the upcoming Queen Elizabeth II Jubilee celebrations. A vote of no confidence would require at least half of his faction to vote against Johnson to remove him from office. And the Times reported on Tuesday, not 28, that 29 MPs had probably made a corresponding request. As I said, if their number rose to 54 and thus to 15% of the Conservative MPs, the responsible parliamentary group body, the 1922 committee, would have to schedule a vote. There had already been a wave of applications in January, as we all know, at the height of the Partygate, but we will see. At that time, it was said that the quorum was almost reached, but after the start of the war in Ukraine, many withdrew their letters so as not to weaken Johnson. Only its chairman, Graham Brady, knows how many letters the committee actually received. He is keeping it silent and only acts when the number is reached. Parliament is currently pausing for the celebrations of Queen Elizabeth II's 70th Jubilee, which is why, if the worst comes to the worst, a vote is not expected until next week at the earliest. And there are some other interesting things, like former Business Secretary Andrea Leadsom, a prominent Conservative, joined the chorus of critics on Tuesday. Although she did not explicitly call for the Prime Minister's replacement, in a letter to her constituents, she questioned whether he had given Parliament truthful information about the events at Downing Street. After reading the Gray report, Leadsom wrote, "It became painfully clear to her that the scale of the rule-breaking made ignorance by the leadership unlikely." At the same time, she left open whether she would write a letter to the committee. The news is likely to worry Johnson because Leadsom, a staunch Brexit supporter, was previously considered his ally. And former party leader William Hague spoke on Tuesday of a fuse that Leadsom would have placed on the explosives. Johnson's independent ethics advisor Christopher Geed has called for the Prime Minister to explain publicly why he believes being fined for attending a lockdown party did not mean he violated the government's code of conduct. Previously, Johnson had said in a letter to Geed that he was certain, having regard to all the circumstances, that he had not violated the so-called ministerial code. He is still the first incumbent Prime Minister fined for breaking the law. So how could this not be a breach of the ministerial code? But we all know, in Johnson's world, it isn't. But can we just talk about the real world? A lot of Johnson and his guys don't live in the real world. I don't know if they ever did, but at the moment they definitely don't do. But what does it mean in the real world? And I don't know how often I said, every sensitive politician or decent politician would have resigned ages ago. But a decent politician would not have waited for the before the Brexit referendum to decide on which side he is on for political or power reasons. He would have gone with his real opinion. But we all know Johnson. We know his past, his lies as a journalist. I don't even want to call him a journalist, but okay. We will hear more about this, I'm quite sure, and I'm quite interested how this will look next week if Graham Brady will call the vote of no confidence. We will see. I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.